Welcome to Eye on the Illini Live. This is Illini guy Mike Cagley with Ked Prince. We will have other folks jumping in. That was a crazy game that you have to give Michigan credit. Second half, they just curb stomped the Illini, and not much you could really say about it, Ked. That was Michigan wins 84-70 with and just really, they were a step faster. They got where they needed to be on the court first, whether it was on offense or defense. I can't really throw any rocks. I just thought they outplayed the Illini on both ends of the court.
They're right. They outplayed them. I don't want to hear about some analytics tonight because it didn't work. Okay. You're at home. You had a week off. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. You shoot 41% from the field, and Michigan's 53%. You get off 63 field goal attempts. And, the knock people, this is some funny. We've said this before. We're sick of Ked complaining about the officiating, Mike complaining about NIL, Marcus Griffin about no post touches. Well, I'm going to tell you, out of the three of us tonight, and Big Griff isn't here, you saw why he made those comments. I can't tell you how many people that matter to me and people who are coaches and things talk about that. And I'm going to say it, and it may not be the popular take, and I don't care if you like it or not. If this team's not making threes, they have a good shot to get to the Sweet 16 if they're just average. But if you think this team's going to get to the Final 8 or Final 4 and they're one-dimensional and the threes aren't falling, it's not going to happen. You have 8 losses. Go look. You got to make threes. And everybody's worried about Keaton Wagler and NBA. You know what? Keaton's going to be fine. He's getting everybody's best right now. Everybody's best. People are bodying him. Whether he's getting calls or not, it remains to be seen. He's trying to get his teammates involved. He still ended up with 23 points, the game leading score, and we're worried about if he's going to the NBA or not. Illinois has bigger concerns, than him going to the NBA. They should be worried about people shooting, your big shooting 3 for 10 from the field, 1 for 3. You got, let's see, Ibise's 4 rebounds. You got 0 from Zonomir. That's what you should be concerned about, whether Keaton Walker is going to the NBA. I'm sorry, but that's what you should be concerned about. And tonight, I think the athleticism showed tonight. I'm sorry, it did.
Yeah, and don't come talking to me about NIL money because you see what you can build up in Michigan, and they've got the money and they're spending like a blue blood up there in basketball. And under Kyle Whittingham, they're going to start spending even more in football. And I think, unfortunately, Michigan's going to be back. That's if you're a Michigan fan, you got to be. It's got to be a great time for you. I think this Illinois team has the ability to beat anybody in the country, but they have to shoot well to do it. And the problem when they play an athletic team is it's hard to shoot well when those guys can get inside of you and they're every bit as quick as you and every bit as strong as you, if not quicker or stronger or both. And I think tonight Michigan matched up really. It's just not a good matchup for Illinois. You look in the inside, Mara had 19, Morez had 19, Yaxel had 16. So in that front line there, you're looking at a devastating, offense. And then you throw up with those numbers, 23 rebounds and 7 assists out of those three positions, and that just made it tough. Illinois needs Stojakovic to get out of whatever funk he is in. That has to stop. I don't know what you do, but you can't afford to have a player that's that talented going scoreless in a big game. And Boswell, I thought he played great because it was clear the hand is still bothering him when he took some hits in the lane, and somehow he's managing to shoot 6 for 14. Maybe he's going to have to cut back on the threes, but he played well. But you're right when you look at the Ivasic brothers, a whopping 9 points. And if you throw Merkovich, at least, but that brings the three of them total up to 19. But boy, Illinois has to get more out of their players. And if Illinois can't score on the inside, that means Humrickhouse and Stojakovic and Jake Davis and Keaton Wagler and Boswell and Merkovich, et cetera. They're going to have to hit threes, Ked. And tonight they ended up shooting 31%, but some of those were late, in the game. when it mattered, Illinois was mired at about 24% from the 3-point line.
I'll say it again, and it's great when shots are falling. It looks good. I like it. But when they're not, what are you going to do? You can literally take Michigan is a really good 3-point shooting team, and they didn't do that tonight. There was lobs, they attacked the basket, they were more physical than Illinois tonight. And there's nothing at all. Mark it down, record it. Officiating had nothing to do with this game tonight. They just got outplayed. They got outplayed tonight. I don't even want to say Michigan wanted it more. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be stupid because I know this game meant a lot to Illinois. You saw Colin Boswell come out to play. I don't know. You mentioned Andrej Stojakovic. There's more to it. We don't know, but I'm hoping to find out because there's something to that. That kid's too good to be on the bench, and you might to not get playing time and to not score. That's not him. And I will tell you, I'm not going to sit here and pout and cry over spilt sour milk. They better figure out other ways to score. I'm just telling you because if you think, Mike, hold on 1 second. If you look at when you get to the final 8, Sweet 16, Mike, everybody's going to be like that. Look at the teams ahead of them. They're athletic and they can all play. You're not going to get a bunch of guys out there who can't walk and chew gum. They have to figure this out. And I'm going to tell you, we can say they're not frustrated. Everybody who saw the game on TV, you saw the demeanor from the coaches. They were mad on the bench. You know it. So the coaches speak great. I'm telling you, that's fine. But I know what I saw. I'm not blind yet.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I got to be honest with you. No offense, but you're absolutely nuts. Wagler his lottery status is not fading. People are complaining that he sucks. He was actually the leading scorer in the game. And I will say one thing about I thought the officiating was fine. There was absolutely nothing going on that was going to make Illinois win the game, unless you expect Illinois to get a foul called on Michigan every time down the court. But I will say that Wagler only shooting 6 free throws, he isn't because he's a freshman, he's not getting the whistle that a Braden Smith gets, who's a senior, who's built up his credibility, or even Io by his junior year would get calls. I think Wagler has gotten kind of less calls as the season gone on, and I think I'd like to see him at the free throw line a little more often. But really, I mean, you're talking 23 points going 7 for 17 against a team that their game plan was to take Wagler away and make Boswell shoot. And they made it hard on Wagler, no doubt, and he earned every point and he fought for every point. But if you think Wagler's the problem that you saw out there tonight, I'm sorry, but Illinois got destroyed on the inside. And again, that triumvirate. Let's go down and take a look at the stats. Maybe might be something to be helpful. But as we look at the points for this, Merkovich was at 12 points, 10 rebounds, so he had a double double, 2 assists. Boswell was at 15 points, and so when you look at Boswell, 15 points, he was 1 board and 2 assists. Tomislav was 7 points, 4 boards. Had one nice board in the second half. You had 2 shots in the lane that were nice. Jake Davis was 6 points and 1 rebound. Wagler 23 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And then Stojakovic was 0 for 2 with 1 rebound, 2 personal fouls, only 12 minutes. Humrickhouse was 5 points, 3 boards, and Ivasic was 2 points, and Zoronomir 2 points, no rebounds, and 2 personal fouls. He seemed like he was out of sorts ever since since he got that foul called on him early on, the second foul. He just never really got his sea legs, Ked, in my opinion, but that may be wrong. And if we go over on the next shot here, you take a look at the team, and again, these are, if you're looking at, where they are with the home stats, Merkovich was -4, Boswell was -2, Tomislav and Jake Davis were -20, Wagler was -10, Stojakovic -3, Humrickhouse -3, and Ivasic was -8. Illinois was held to 1.094 points per possession. I'd have to go look, but it has to be one of their lowest totals of the season. And, bench points only 7. They did have 32 points in the paint. They had 8 points off of turnovers. They had 20 second chance points. And when you look at it, that was just a tough time for the Illini. They shot 41% to Michigan's 53. And when you go from 3-point line, Michigan was 36, Illinois 31%, 82% from the free throw line for Michigan, 75 for Illinois. Both teams were tied at 10 turnovers. That did surprise me. 14-8 advantage for Michigan on points off of turnovers. Rebounds were 34-30. It didn't seem like it was that close, but Illinois kept it close till the half, and then, actually still ended up with one more offensive rebound. Second chance points, 22 for Michigan, 20 for Illinois. Bench points, 20-7 for Michigan. Points in the paint, 42-32. Fast break points, again, Illinois' weakness, 10-1 in favor of Michigan. 4 blocks to 3 for Michigan, and 6 steals to 5 for Michigan. 15 assists for Michigan to 9 for Illinois. Michigan led for 31 minutes and 48 seconds of the game. And in my opinion, they really came out, and however you want to cut it, Michigan did. They outplayed the Illini. And if you're going to outplay the Illini on the inside and you're going to outshoot them from the 3, Illinois ain't going to win.
Mike, I want to make a few comments here, so bear with me. Number one, somebody made a comment, and I know there's a bunch of troll Michigan fans on here, and you guys are really lucky that Mike's hosting this because you'd be gone by now. Understand, Mike's not begging for calls. Okay, so grow the hell up. He's not begging for calls. What he is saying, and I don't know if you have wax in your ears or whatever, the Keaton has been physically hit a number of times. It has nothing to do with just Michigan. We've noticed it at Nebraska, Michigan State, and that's fine. That's what happens when you're a good player. Okay, in my opinion. If you guys don't like the feedback, Mike, I'm not trying to kill your numbers. Jump off. Number one, some of these people here, I don't know what grade you're in. Maybe you're in kindergarten or preschool, but one day you're going to get older and wiser. You don't come talk trash to people after you win, because this is the first time Michigan's beaten Illinois 9 times. Get the hell out of here and go away with that. Okay, people can talk trash when the game's over. Okay, I watched the women's game last night, and nobody said anything because the only women's up by 6. As soon as the game over, they want to call and talk to you, but they're scared and paranoid. Understand, this is why I don't talk trash to people, because your team is going to lose at some point in time. It doesn't work that way. Now, back to the game itself. I don't care if people agree with me or not. Keaton Wagler could have scored the first half. I love that kid. I love everything about his game, but if there was one thing about his game I do not like and I can't stand and it frustrates me, he tries to get everybody else involved too much. It's not about the fact that who was guarding him. He could have shot the ball. I know that Michigan's bigger and physical. He didn't even attempt to shoot it. Okay, so you're going to sit and tell me this. Okay, we're sitting here trying to say that Keaton Wagler couldn't get a shot off on Lindenberg because he's too tall. Okay, that's what I was told. But so let me ask you this. How tall was Mara? He's 7'4", and Keaton shot a 3 right in his face. That's not the fact that he can't score. I wish he would shoot the ball more. I wish he would get the ball to the basket. K Solo, you're right. He's too generous because he can get a shot off. Okay, let me ask you this. What did he do in the second half? They switched, and he got to the rack. Foul or not foul? I wish he would change. Listen, you can talk trash all you want, number one fan, Michigan, whatever you want. Okay, I don't care if you live in a band or you can live in Brad Underwood's house. Okay, nobody's running about not dishing it. Grow the hell up. Your team's going to lose someday. It's not about talking trash. You didn't talk shit for 9 years because you got beat every time. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Grow up. Nobody's mad you beat Michigan. To tell you the truth, you should have won. You are the better team. So we're saying it. So if you can't figure that out, go somewhere else and cry and go to the Michigan fan board. If you're going to come here, talk sense to us. I don't want to hear about what you haven't done because you haven't beaten Illinois. And I'm going to put it on record right now. This is why I'm done rooting for Big Ten schools, because you got people out there who are ignorant and uneducated about the game of sports. You're not going to win every game. So, sorry, Mike, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but I'm sick of the Keaton Wagler stuff. I'm sick of the NBA stuff. The bottom line is this kid has done wonders for Illinois. I feel bad. I don't want him to come back. Why would he come back? If they could pay him to come back and he came back, that's great. I love it. But that kid is going to come back. He's going to get double, triple team. People are going to bump him all over the floor. Mike, you're right. He's not going to get any questionable calls. Brad has complained about it. He walked out of a press conference about it. It's not going to change. And I'm sorry. And I don't want them to call fouls if there aren't fouls. Number one, I'm not saying that. That's not why they lost tonight. They lost for multiple other reasons.
Well, look, like I said, yeah, Wagler is probably the least of your problems. Illinois has to figure out, and this is where, if you're looking at the
Mike, will you ban
Kim
that dude, please? Mike, please ban that kid. I'm number one. Nobody's talking about when I was in third grade when they did this 10 years ago. Just get rid of him. Sorry, man. I'm not in the mood
but
for that.
but as we look at it, the concern that I have as a guy who's followed the Illini for longer than most of these people have been alive. Illinois is still up in five in the Kim Pom, and the issue that we have is when you deal with very athletic teams, Illinois has problems. Well, you look Michigan, Duke,
UConn.
Arizona. Oh, there's
Yeah.
some serious athleticism there. Florida and Illinois, pretty good match. Houston, that's a tough one. Iowa State's tough. We saw obviously Purdue was somebody that Illinois could match with. Connecticut is athletic, and so is Michigan State. So that means the bottom line is Illinois has to, and this is not a typical Illinois team. Illinois has to outshoot the other guys. In the past, it used to be Illinois had to outguard somebody, had to get up and down the court more. But this team's got to outshoot them, and when they're not shooting well, I worry that Michigan, Duke, Arizona are out of reach because those teams have the athleticism that can get in and cause problems with the offense. And that is something that Tyler and Brad are going to have to deal with is what do we do on those nights that we're shooting 41%, because you're not going to beat these top teams shooting 41%.
No, you're not. And I want to say this too. I think Dustin May is a good coach. I think it's a good hire. I'm
Oh, he's
sorry.
great
I
hire.
do. I think it's a great hire. I don't have any problem with that. I think he's professional. I don't see him being arrogant. I just like what he does. But Mike, something you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, but I got really frustrated by reading some of the comments. You're right about money, buddy. If I learned something today, and I'm going to be careful so somebody doesn't go repeat it and give it to the president and say that I said it because I share information and it goes nationwide. Understand this: Michigan has a ton of money, and I'm going to tell you that roster that they paid a lot of money for those kids. But you know what? Look where they are right now. They're one of the best teams in the country. They're probably favored to win a national title. If you're going to have that kind of money, and I'm not going to sit and do this NIL tangent tonight, but I'm going to tell you, if you want to compete, when you can go pay players now, let's just call it, we're not going to do this, pay for play NIL, whatever, you better go get some money and you better go get players. And I'm going to tell you the same thing is going to happen in football. You can cry about it all you want. That is the name of the game now, and everybody is doing it. Michigan pay those players, and I don't blame them. I'm not mad at them for it. I'm really not. People are mad that Merez left. I'm sorry, I'm not. If he got more money to go to Michigan, what the hell? What would you tell your kid? All you people sitting here on this podcast, what would you tell your kid? Would you tell your kid if you have a chance to make $2 million or $3 million and you're going to stay at a place to make 500,000? I'm not saying that's what Illinois did. I'm just throwing numbers out there. You're telling me you would do that? No, you wouldn't. So why get mad at that kid for it? I'm not. Would I like to have him? Hell yeah, I like to have him. But I'm not mad at him for doing it because everybody on this podcast, if they're telling the truth, they will do the same thing. And Brandon, you're right. He doesn't change his team much because he can't shoot the ball well enough. I,
No,
I was telling my son tonight, my last comment. My son was going off about Merez, and I said, son, let me explain something to you. Coming into the game tonight, Merez had made 8 threes, and I said it at halftime. Okay. And David has made 43. That is Brad Underwood's system. That's why he's not fitting that system. And he fits Michigan's system, and that's great. Sorry, buddy.
No, and look, the bottom line, a couple things. Sign a contract. That is not perfect. There have been some guys who've signed contracts and decided not to transfer, and other people who did, and they were allowed to transfer. So that's really dependent upon it. but the bottom line is Illinois is between 12th and 15th in the country, which is what I've been saying, right, Ked, for as long as you've known
Hmm.
me. And I've
Yeah.
said there's a big gap between the top ones, which means you're going to have to play a style of basketball that wins. Brad Underwood plays a style that wins unless you're not shooting good. And that is
It's
that
true.
and if you're not shooting good and you're not that athletic, sometimes the athletic teams can make you not shoot good. And that's the weakness. And you've got to they've got to figure out as to why you want to go in terms of Morez. Look, the bottom line is anytime a player, and I'm going to tell you right now, Morez, Ked and I were calling him a top 25 player when he was a freshman in high school when other people weren't.
Yep.
And so he is a fantastic player, but I'm sorry, but if somebody came to you with how many people have turned down a job that you can make significantly more money? Not many people can say they've done that. And I'm sorry, but if my son called me from college and said, "Hey, Dad, I can make X here or make 2X over here," that's not a real hard decision to figure out. So I don't throw money at kids because coaches do the same thing. They will tell you how they will bleed whatever the color of the school is until somebody offers them a bigger check, and then you see them talking to the new school with the different colors about how that's what they bleed. So I don't mind, but if you're an Illinois booster and you want to win in the Big Ten, Michigan has put their money down and said, so do we. So if you ain't going to go to their level, then good luck. And the same thing, you're seeing Michigan State put in huge money into their football program. Obviously, Ohio State's done it for years on the football side. Indiana may actually end up as a football school. Who knows? But, yeah, Illinois is going to have to figure out how you're going to fund Brett Bielema, how you're going to fund Brad Underwood. And that's just a matter of fact. But the bottom line is tonight, regardless of dollars and all that, Illinois just got outplayed. Michigan played better defense. Michigan shot the ball better, and Michigan got more rebound. I mean, they just outplayed Illinois, and I don't know how you can say anything else. I'm not saying I didn't think Illinois had a bad effort level, but they just got beat in every facet of the game tonight.
Mike,
Ked, what I
I'm
missed?
laughing. I'm laughing because I love Chris Nichols' comments. We put our money into scoreboards and lounges. I think that's funny. And Mike, look at the guy underneath him. That's Trent Frazier's dad. Rod
Yep.
Nail's on there. A guy from the past. Good to see you, Rod Nail. No, Mike, you didn't forget it. And here's the deal. I've said this before. I know people aren't going to go back and look. I thought Illinois was, when the NIL money became a thing, it gave Illinois even playing field. But now that it's such a big deal, I think they may be at a disadvantage if they don't catch up. They have to catch up. You got to stay there. You don't want to go backwards. I don't care what it takes, what it looks like. You cannot afford to go backwards at this point. So that's not. I don't want to make the show about the NIL money, but we know that's going to be coming up here next month. Pretty soon because we're already in March. And that people are going to be looking at next year, and if people think that kids aren't thinking about moving already, you're kidding yourself because they are.
They're
These
already
kids know
talking
what's.
now.
Yes, they
They're
are, and I'm
already
telling you
talking
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put that on board because somebody may go tell somebody. Point being, Mike, it is happening, and I know it is for a fact. And that's what I'm okay with it because it's it's what it is. I know it's happening because people have said stuff to me. I'm telling you, men and women's program. I know what's happening, and the issue is if they're going to do it, they better do it, and they better put a roster together where they can compete. Illinois has always done that. It's not the sky's not falling because they lost. To me, if they would have won last Saturday, I wouldn't be as upset. I really wouldn't be. That's why I was so upset about that. Oh boy, I would love to make a comment about that, Mike. I'm not going to say anything.
Maybe not 3 million. Could have a little bit.
Yeah.
But look, the bottom line is Greg makes a point here that I'll be honest with you, I feel
Me
like Greg
too.
Tuhill
So
does.
do I.
The UCLA was the game that Illinois should have won, and then this wouldn't sting quite so bad. And look, again, when it gets in the tournament, if Illinois goes on a roll and they get hot, they could look fantastic. And if they go out and shoot 25% from the 3-point line until 4 minutes left in the game, they could be out of the tournament quickly. conversely, this Michigan team is going to be tough to beat because a lot of this game, Ked, to me was a team. One team was inside scoring points, and the other team was outside missing threes.
Well, somebody made a comment here, and I was trying to get the statistics to give you the right amount, but they were talking about Illinois doesn't pay a coach very well to get a good coach. I don't know if you know or not, but the highest paid coach in the Big Ten is Tom Izzo, like $7 million. Brad Underwood makes $4 million. I think they can pay a coach. That's not the issue. I'm really sorry. I'm not saying get rid of Brad Underwood. Not saying that, but they have the money to get coaches because Brett Bielema gets paid, Shawnee Green gets paid. That's not the issue. So that won't happen. I mean, they're going to lose a coach because of money. Josh Whitman is very competitive. He wants to put a team together, and I think that's great. But in the end, they lost. The coach is upset. I saw Ken Wagler, made a comment. You don't let teams come into our house and punk us like that. Well, they did. So what are you going to do next time about it? What are you going to do when you're on a neutral court? What do we got here, Mike?
I hate to say this, but they don't compete with Duke, UConn, Michigan. I would say Alabama, probably
No,
Kansas.
he's right. We can't compete with Alabama football, Mike. He said in
Oh,
general.
I thought he was
He
talking in
oh,
basketball.
he did say
So,
basketball.
yeah,
He did say
yeah.
basketball.
So
I'm
if you
sorry.
take Alabama off that list, Illinois is not going to be competing at that level right now. But like I said, they're top 12 to 15. So you've got the dollars to put together a good roster. And if you want to argue, Saint Dominic's rosary is on a he's just typing as fast as he can in as
Who's
many.
talking about the fans, Mike? Did I miss something? Somebody said talk. Who's attacking the fans? I must
Oh,
have
I
missed
don't know.
something. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway, the bottom line is like I said, where if you want to throw rocks, your off-season evaluations as to how that team fits together, you would prefer. Let's take a look at Mahalo. You would prefer to have him come over, not be late because of the immigration issues, not pull his hamstring, so that you can at least see what he can do, and he doesn't have like a 3 month, give the rest of the team a 3 month head start. And you'd like to see Stojakovic not struggle in the end of the season here. And those are decisions that will ultimately go back to the head coach and the GM of the basketball program. And you'll say, well, those two guys didn't work out as well as you wanted. And that's how guys are going to be, that's how coaches are going to be evaluated nowadays, Ked. Win and loss, and then how much you paid for this player and how did he play.
You got to advance in the tournament. That's the ultimate goal. Illinois has had some success in recent years in the Big Ten tournament and Big Ten. They need to advance. They just do. They need to hopefully get a good seed. Hopefully they're making shots. Hopefully things are working well for them because I know I can only imagine if they bow out, the first weekend of the tournament, fans are really going to be upset, as they should be. They really should be. I have my own opinions of the team. I don't need other people to read. It's nice to have all the national attention, but I've seen the flaws. We've all talked about it. We've followed the team closer than some of the national guys because you know what's going on. We've talked about it ad nauseum. You're not going to
Oh,
go
Ked,
what?
somebody just hit it. They just hit it.
So
Um, look, Bruce Weber he had a really good first 2 years, but the day he was hired as a former SIU guy, I looked at that and said, Illinois is dead meat because we are going to have the death of 1,000 cuts because the recruiting wasn't there. He can coach better than probably Underwood, probably better, well, certainly better than Gross, and probably on a level, but the recruiting wasn't there. And by the time that John Gross got a hold of this team, Bruce had taken a Ferrari and turned it into a Chevrolet. And then John Gross took that Chevrolet and just drove it into a lake. And if anybody is gonna, you can say that Brad hasn't done crap. Take a look at the last 7 years. Brad has rebuilt the program because it was in the dumpster when he took it. Again, I'm not saying Brad Underwood is the perfect coach at all, but this is one of the dumbest things that you've put out there, St. Dominic. I mean, this is absolutely bad, bad,
well,
bad,
I'm gonna
bad.
tell you for me personally, I guess you pick your poison. People don't think Brad Underwood was a good X's and O's coach, and Bruce was better. Brad's a better recruiter, and Bruce couldn't do it. You know, you pick your poison. And Mike, we're going to disagree on this, and I understand. But you are right, though. You're 100% right. Bruce
Well,
Weber
then you
did
can't
inherit.
disagree with me.
No, he did inherit a good team, but he coached the team and he got them there.
Oh, I'm not arguing
You know,
that.
no, I know you're not. I'm just saying in
He did a
general.
better job.
Anybody,
I would argue he did a better job with D and Darren than Bill
yeah,
Self would have.
he did.
But that being said, when it came to what the lineups that he recruited, those teams were not what you needed to win in the Big Ten. It is what it is,
You're right.
and he is a great guy. He would actually. Bruce Weber was a classy guy. There's a big difference to me between job performance and individual human being. Bruce Weber came by one of my teams, AAU teams, and watched our guys for 10 minutes. None of those guys was going to play, but he did. He got a chance and he looked at the guys, gave them thumbs up. Classy. Bruce probably doesn't even remember it, but that's the type of classy guy he was. Just
I
a
like
good
it.
guy. But if you want to hire a Big Ten coach, that's not who I would hire. But anyway, as we go on this, I do think that probably the other thing that we have to take a look at is when you're looking at these teams. Underwood has gotten Illinois up to a level. Now, what do you need to do to get better? And that's the thing that Keaton Wagler is going to be challenged with next year as a player. What is he going to do to get better now that he's competing with better people because he's moving up to the NBA? If Brad Underwood and the Fighting Illini, now they're competing at a higher level than this program's been at since Self and early Weber. The coaching is going to have to get better too because you're competing against the top program. And if you want to bump through, you're going to have to figure out what's weak in my game, just like a player would, right, Ked?
I would agree, and I don't, want to be negative here, but I agree. You have to get better. Sometimes people who are confident and arrogant, they don't like criticism, and sometimes criticism can be good. You have, like you're right. They want to take the next step, then they should. And I said it the last podcast. I said it last Saturday, so I can't hide it because it's out there. I think there should be things where there was a summer where whoever's in charge of the offense, we know it's Tyler Underwood, but I think they need to hire a coach, one coach, when there's things going wrong, who his job is to analyze and make adjustments. That's his job, not to see how many points somebody's getting, not to be a damn cheerleader on the bench. Your job is to, okay, what are they doing? Your job is to study that. The other coaches, typically, that's what happens when you got 15 coaches on the bench because there's a lot of them on the bench. They need somebody who's masterful at that. And I'm going to tell you who really, really would be good at it is Bruce Weber. You're 100% right. I'm sorry. He really would be. Bruce Weber runs a really, really good motion offense. He does. And that's not Brad's offense, and it's what it's going to be. And
And I got to
give,
be honest with you, Ked. I would
yeah,
not want to try to recruit people to that type of offense. I in today's world, motion offense that is just not very popular. I think
no,
Brad's offense would be easier to recruit people.
it is. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, Jeff Settles did a podcast yesterday. I listened to a former Iowa player, and he made the comment that Illinois is ahead of the game. They're way ahead of the game because what they're doing, I guess he talked to Coach Underwood the last game he did in Champaign, and Illinois is recruiting foreign players who are 14 years old. They're going over to recruit those kids at that age. So that's what the game is turning to. Jeff made a comment that other coaches are starting to do it. So they're ahead of the game, and whether we like it or not, I mean, if everybody's doing it, then Illinois is going to have a chance. But if they don't, and you face teams that's athletic like Michigan, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you, I really didn't think Illinois had a chance to win right before the game started. That's why I'm not upset about it. We've seen this song and dance too many times. Did I want them to win? Heck yes, I want to see them win. But there are things that they need to really, really quick. Oh my gosh, that comment right there. Woo.
Yeah, thanks to Brandon. We want to give him a shout out.
No,
Okay, so
I'm talking about
chose the
Caswell.
wrong power forward. I would say I would choose Morez over Merck, but I will say their difference has not been probably the big gap that you would think. We don't have enough black athletic players. I would just say we don't have enough athletic players.
I'm
Not
not
going to
saying
try
that.
to box
Even
it in on color,
though
but
I'm not
um,
saying that.
Stojakovic does not fit what Brad wants. Clearly, right now, you are correct. He is not playing the way Brad wants or needs, and Michigan is winning it all. If I had to put money on a team right now, I would go either Michigan or Duke.
Yeah,
If you're asking me,
so would I.
so I'm gonna say that's definitely not a bad thing overall.
It's not. Those are the two
So
best teams. I think. Hopefully, they're on different sides of the bracket. I think Michigan. I don't think Duke exposed Michigan. I do think Michigan's a really, really good team. And you know what? I don't want to contradict myself because I don't care about the Big Ten, but it would be nice to see them win because you get rid of some of the biases. It was kind of fun to watch some of the SEC people cry and complain because the Big Ten is one of the last 3 national titles, but they're the best team in the Big Ten. And I'm gonna tell you, the sleeper team in the Big Ten, I think to come out. I do think Michigan State. That we all laugh about Tom Izzo and his March Madness runs, but Tom runs really, really good stuff. They just went into Purdue last night and won at Purdue too as well. I think the seniors at Purdue, I think they've grown old. I think some of them I think they've fizzed out. I think they are what they are. Teams are scouting them. I tell you, I talked to a former player's parent today and another player, who had some interest in Illinois, and they all talk about the Big Ten is tough. One kid, he's looking to transfer. He doesn't want anything to do with the Big Ten. He was like, it's hard. It is the hardest conference to prepare for night in and night out. You don't get an easy win. You look at some of the SEC and Big 12s, there's some easy wins. Hell, Northwestern could beat anybody. I mean, they had Michigan down by 16 points at one time, if you remember.
yeah, so I'll answer this for Chris. So
That's
how can
easy.
Indiana football do it in 1 year? That's really easy to encapsulate. It's really hard to do. So what they did is they hired a fantastic coach. So they got the coaching decision correct. Then that coach went out and got Mark Cuban and Eli Lilly to fund the football program with big money, sight unseen. That's a leader. And then the third thing that he did is he understood that while he's got a lot of NIL money for Indiana, it certainly didn't match Ohio State or Oregon. So what he did, and this is the genius move that I don't hear anywhere except me saying this, but what Signetti did is he went down to that JMU level where he had been recruiting guys, and he knew which guys could move up to those guys because he recruited them personally, and he brought those guys who could play but for pennies on the dollar, which allowed him to spend that newfound money on positions, probably gave him, quote, a little extra money. The person that you compare that to is when Jimmy Johnson came to the NFL for Dallas in the late 80s. He went after guys who were he drafted for the first 3 years with the Cowboys. He literally nailed every pick because he recruited all. He knew who the dogs were, he knew who the talent was, and he had recruited them. He didn't necessarily get them all who they were, and he had an advantage over guys who were in the NFL. You're out guys that they hadn't known for 5 years. How Michigan basketball in two. Michigan's extremely well funded. Juwan Howard was an idiot, and they got in a real coach. And all of a sudden, you get that funding with a real coach. You have to have coaching, you have to have funding, and they put it together. And they did a really good job. I don't know how that's the part I don't understand about college sports nowadays. There's no point throwing rocks. These guys are putting together rosters. If they have more money, well, that's what happens. But you still got to put together the roster, and the guys who win, who have most money to spend, and they don't screw up when they spend it. There you
Uh,
are.
Mike, you're right. I don't know the ins and outs, but the comment that was made earlier that we talked about, you get all that money and I want the renovations. I think that stuff is nice, but can you imagine $100 million? What kind of sports program you could have if you had that kind of money and you're buying players with it? Somebody actually did it. They gave the money, and I'm really, really sorry. That's what you have to get. I mean, and Illinois is going into facilities. The facilities aren't bad. Geese Memorial Stadium was not bad. They've done a lot of renovations. State Farm Center. They're going to have to do that to get players. I mean, it doesn't matter what we think. You have to start doing it. The facilities are great. I get it, but if people and I'm gonna tell you, Mike, you have a list, and you probably beside me at the top of my head. I know Sean LeCon, the guy from the NFL. There's people out there with money. We
Yep.
can't run the world dry every time, but there are people out there who are willing to do it. Like you mentioned, Mark Cuban at Indiana. If you don't do it, I'm telling you, this is going to go south quick. Because why would you want? Okay, what's the difference between playing at Illinois or playing at Michigan or Michigan State? Illinois has a good history. They have an unbelievable fan base. The fan base is great. But if somebody's going to, like I mentioned earlier, if somebody's going to offer you $2 million and one school's going to offer you 500, yeah, I'm going to go to Illinois because I want to wear orange and make the fans happy. You go where the money is. We're all adults here. I think we are. I don't know what people look like and what they do for a living. But if somebody's going to offer you a job to do the same job, and one company's giving you $2 million and one's going to give you 500,000, like I mentioned, what the hell? Who wouldn't? I'm done with that part of it. It's just common sense. The game has changed. It's not like it used to be, and it's tough if you've been around for a long time because somebody made the comment on here. It's the CEOs and NIL dictates everything. It is. These kids are calling, and the first thing they're asking about is money. And I'm going to tell you, Illinois has players. You have to re-recruit your players again. This is a men's basketball show, but the Illinois has some women out there. I'm going to tell you, they're going to have a hard time with it too because they're good players, and they're going to follow the money. So it has to change. Otherwise, Illinois is going to go back down to what they once were, and they're going to be average again. You can't do that. Chris's comment about Brad getting us
Yeah.
nastier
I,
again.
and
Why do you have to wait till the game's over to get like that?
yeah, I think and look, I think the bottom idea, the bottom line is to play better, and they have to play better in the key moments, and ultimately, they have to look at the roster, and it's a dog eat dog world now. So at the end of the year, you're going to have to really judge, like, who do you want here and who can you get that's better, and you have to then go out and figure out how you're going to do it. And the scary thing is you've got a lot of you got a lot of people, but when you think you can get them for this much, and then you find it's a bidding on the open market, and you got to pay this much for the guy, and that's the challenge that's out there. Sturdy's going to be on when he gets out of the. That's why we kind of start a few minutes later. He's going to be on the podcast when Brad is out of the locker room. So that's something we don't
Mike,
have control
I
on.
want to give our listeners. I'm gonna give our listeners some information I learned today. We talked about money here, and Keaton. I had a friend call me today. It actually was a friend who's a former NBA agent, and we were talking Keaton Wagler, and we're talking NBA and talking money, and we're talking about asking my opinion if I thought he should go to the pros or if I thought he'd stay in college. Right away, I didn't let him finish. I said, "Hey, you go chase the money, blah blah blah." He made the comment to me today that people need to understand somebody like Keaton Wagler. These are not my words, so don't say I said it and go tell the federal damn government. Somebody told me that a player like Keaton Wagler's stature, if he came back to playing college basketball next year, minimum will be $5 million. Minimum. And there are schools who would pay him for that because there's other players who are already looking to move, asking how much they're going to get. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying Keaton's done that, but if he left Illinois and wanted to go somewhere else, somebody's going to throw $5 million at that kid. I'd be hard to turn that down too. I'm sorry, it really would be. That's where the NIL is going
Yeah,
now.
and
So would you pay that much for a player? Could Illinois do that? I know Michigan can do it because they're doing it. I know that today. I learned that today, so they're doing it.
yeah, I mean that's tough. And I got to be honest with you, you have to think about if you had a son and they have the opportunity to go to the NBA, make first round money, and be 3 years away from that contract that you can get if you're good enough. It would be awfully hard to tell that kid not to go to the NBA. And because what happens if you come back to school, play another year, and you tear an ACL? Now all of a
You got
sudden
$5 million though, because if you get that
you
$5 million,
get $5 million,
right? Well,
but
just short term, that's a lot of money, Mike. But if you go and get hurt and come back to college, you might not get anything at all because you might not get drafted. That's what's tough. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's debatable, but that's a lot of money. And I mean, the reason I know that is because that's what coaches are saying, because that's what they're having a hard time with some of these guys and the NBA for that money because colleges are paying them. And that's what the colleges want because you have a great college game. And we can all sit here today. And I just thought about this because everybody's talking about how good Lindenberg is. That guy's almost 30 years old, and Keaton Wagner looks like he's 15. So understand this. Yes, he's a big guy, but I think at least 24 years old, 23, 24 years old. So that makes a big difference as well. And now he's going to be, I don't know, I don't personally, and gosh, I'm going to pay the price for saying this. I think he's good, but I don't see what everybody else see in that kid. I really don't. If I'm going to pick a Big Ten player of the year, I'm going to tell you, he'd be probably fourth or fifth on my list. He is not at the top of the list to
Who?
me. Lindenberg from Michigan. I just don't see it, Mike. I don't see him being that guy. I mean, he's good. I mean, but truthfully, I would take Wagner. I'd take Fears. I would take Sturz from Iowa. I mean, what is so flashy about him? I mean, he's a big kid, but I'm not saying he's not bad. I'll tell you what, I don't know if Perez is going to play in the NBA, but if I looked at Michigan and if I'm an NBA guy and I had to pick between the two, I'm going with Perez. I just don't see what everybody else see in that kid. Maybe it's me, and maybe
I
I'm the one who needs help. I'm sorry, but I don't
Yeah, I
see it.
got to be honest with you. I was impressed with him from the fact that he could guard a 6'6" point guard. Um,
Well,
I
T
thought,
didn't make it tough on him either. He made it pretty easy because he didn't do anything. He
well,
was just looking to distribute the ball.
I agree. I agree with that. But at the same time, he was able to go chest to chest. I mean, I'm not certain he's going to be an NBA player. You know who he reminds me of athletically?
Who's that?
Corliss Williamson.
Good comparison. I
That
like that.
the big body but ungodly. Like for instance, Yaxel and Corliss. If I was in the NFL, I'd be
Mhm.
like, dude, you're playing defensive end for me,
That's
and I'm
right. I
putting.
just don't see it translating over, Mike. I don't. I'm sorry. I know what I mean. I know the Michigan fans are going to start crying saying I'm mad at the kid. No, I think Morez is better. I tell you what, if you're an Illinois fan and there's a lot of people on this podcast, who would you rather have? I'd rather have Morez. If I had to pick between the two, I really would.
Yeah, I would choose Morez, but I am biased. But I thought Yaxel was better than I thought he was tonight. I thought he played really well.
Oh, he played
And
well, but not. But okay, let me ask you this: your honest opinion. Do you think he's the best player in the Big Ten? Not because they won, not because they blew Illinois off the floor. Do you really think he's the best player in the Big Ten?
I don't know if he's the best player, but I'll tell you, he does an awful lot when you can put him out on a point guard at 6'9" and 245, whatever he weighs. You can put him out on a point guard. That gives you a lot of opportunities because you still got Morez and Mara down there cleaning up boards. I mean, I thought that was impressive. And I do think Illinois needs a little more athleticism. You can write, I mean, I don't really care if it's a Martian. I don't care if they're green and athletic. Doesn't bother me. But, if you want them to be African American, that's fine. But they need some more athletes. And that's where I was disappointed that Stojakovic hasn't been playing well because he's a heck of an athlete and Illinois
Yes.
needs that in the lineup.
Mike, maybe he's hurt, but I don't think so. If he was hurt, he wouldn't be playing. There's something. There's a reason he's not playing, but I agree with you. It wouldn't matter. And there's the comment over here by Pat. You're 100% right. Well, I don't. The Illinois Bigs don't suck. Michigan's are much more aggressive and they're much more physical. And you can be 7'4" and score in the paint because they did it tonight. They did it at will. So
Yeah,
I'm
they
just
destroyed on the inside. They destroyed Illinois, and with the Ivasic brothers, that shouldn't be the case.
especially Zondervan. I mean, I think they took him out of the game. I tell you what, I probably
He
one of the
wasn't the
most
same after that second foul.
no, and what was
He lost the.
demoralizing, that lob dunk. I mean, he's 7'2" and 7'4", blah blah blah. He went up like 3 feet higher to get that, and I was just surprised by that. I'll tell you what, I'm really curious to see. And yeah, do we do the recruiting thing? And I don't tell you what, this next year's class. Now in the transfer portal, they could become more athletic. But the high school scene, the kids that they're recruiting, you're going to get the same thing. They're not changing. I'm telling you right now, you're going to get the same thing and the same kids and the same style. That is not changing because Illinois is not just going to pull the plug and just wipe everything out. Brad is going to stick with this, and he's a believer of it, and that's tough. But I'm telling you, he's not changing it.
Now, the one thing I will disagree with here is Yaxel found out he wasn't going to go as high as he wanted in the draft, and then Michigan made it. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and that was a very, very good offer from a cash flow standpoint. So he would have been drafted last year. I guess would have been towards the bottom of the first round, and I think he wanted to improve that and put some money in his pocket, which is a strategy that's well worth it. I just don't know when you apply that same strategy to a Keaton Wagler. I'm not certain if you do that with Keaton because you're going to be in the lottery. You're going to be in the lottery, and that could be a huge, huge difference that you just don't want to risk.
No,
So
and when you look at the draft boards, and they don't mean anything. Draft boards are just people's opinion. But I mean, everybody has Keaton higher. I don't think he hurt himself tonight. The NBA sees things that people don't see. Like I was not sold on Casparis, but I'll tell you what I did learn. I did learn that like one of the things that the NBA guys did not like what Illinois did to him. Casparis had the ball in his hands too much, and if you look at the NBA, he doesn't. And he plays point guard. He still runs the show, but he doesn't have the ball 99%. And he's much more effective. I was saying at halftime, and everybody else, I would have got the ball to Kylan Boswell, and let him run the point, and I would have got the ball out of Keaton's hand and let him shoot the ball. He can still shoot it no matter what happens. It's tougher when you're shooting with a guy, 5 inches taller than you. But Kylan's able to get shots when he's off the ball, and so is Andrei Stojakovic when he's playing. I would have took the ball out of his hand. From a coaching standpoint, that's what I would have done. And Brandon, you're right. His usage is way too much. You having the ball in his hands the entire game, that's a lot, I think. I would just run him off the ball screens and keep the ball out of his hands and let him. He will score more, and he will find you if you're open. He really will.
yeah, I think that's good, and I think you also saw when you play these really really talented teams like this, that's where you see like there's Jake Davis is a fine player, but you put him out there against a Duke or a gap, and that gap is you can call that the NIL gap, you can call it attracting to play at your school gap, whatever you want, but Illinois is and that's a challenge that is tough. And I do think Wagler off the ball is something that I would be working on in practice, and maybe I don't show it until the NCAA's kid. Maybe I just work it out in practice the next 2 weeks and make that kind of my wrinkle to it because Underwood gave that speech about adapting, in the tournament and adapting to doing things differently. Well, that would be an opportunity to adapt.
I think in the tournament, if Illinois is making shots, they're going to be a tough team to scout. I do believe that. But in the first weekend, I think the second game, if they can get out of the first game, depending upon what seed they got, if they're making shots, I think they advance just because I do think they're a tough matchup. It is hard to scout a team that can shoot the ball if they're making shots. I could possibly see them getting to a final eight, but I'm going to tell you, when depending upon who they have a Houston or Kansas in that next to go to the Final Four or something like that. I think it's just going to be tough because all those teams on who are ahead of them, they're all like what you just saw tonight. Every one of them.
Yeah, and the only thing Illinois can do in that situation is, you have a night where you get hot early on and then you hold on for the win. That's the opportunity this offense does provide. But the problem is live by the sword and you can die by the sword. And we've all saw what happens. Let's say if you go on a 0-30 run, that
Oh, don't bring
that
that
is a
up,
challenge.
Mike. Well, I didn't see
Yeah,
them getting blown. What's bad about tonight? Well, they were blown out. They were blown off their home court tonight, and I didn't see that happening. And I don't blame Michigan for celebrating. I don't. They played Illinois. They won the Big Ten title, and they deserve it. They are the best team in the Big Ten this year. I mean, we can sit and analyze it all we want. They are the best team, and they had a hell of a year doing it. Illinois has some great wins, and I think right now the best thing Illinois can do is hope for a 3 seed. They do not want to drop to that 4 line, and people tell me that it's not possible. Yes, it is. It really is possible. So you hope that they get a 3 at the worst, a 2 possible. I'd like to see them beat Oregon and then win at least a couple of games in the Big Ten tournament, maybe get to a championship game. But if you're staying where you are right now, to get there, you're going to have to beat Michigan again. And we saw how that turned out.
yeah, yeah, and people are saying Stojakovic off the bench isn't working. I'm not certain the way he played tonight if starting him would work either. He's got to
Well, he looks
got to
like he
play
lost
better.
his confidence a little bit. He looks like he lost his confidence, and he strips the ball and he comes out. That kid is not used to that, and I'm not gonna sit and be nice about this. I'm not cool with that. I don't think that's right. You didn't bring that kid in to do this. Yeah, he was hurt, and if that's their philosophy, if a kid gets hurt and he loses the starting spot, I wouldn't do it, but that's what they want to do. And everybody knows I'm a big Jay Davis fan. I really am. But if it was me, Andre would be back in that lineup, and you need him. They all they do is pick and roll and isolate and hunt matchups. That is a great thing. And I'm gonna tell you, I love Jake. And when he shoots the ball, I think it's going in every single time. He is. I personally think he's probably the best shooter on the team. I really do think so. That's just my personal opinion. But you get him and you get not Kylan, but Andre in mismatches, you can utilize that. That is another weapon that you don't have. To go back to the Alabama game, what that was like. Keenan Wagner was okay. You go back to the Alabama game where Andre was just cooking them at the elbow. You need that. You could have used that tonight. And they didn't have that.
Yeah, that is
for a night game.
All right, we got Sturdy on. Brad, go ahead and give us some of your thoughts, and then you're going to have to put your microphone off when you're done talking.
That was bad, right? Not a good. I thought they didn't play hard. They got punked. The front court just got dominated. Mariz Johnson just took it to him, but Ade Mara did too. And Yexel Lendeborg, as a two-way player, is in the wrong league. He needs to be in the NBA. He's from what I saw tonight, he is the best player in the Big Ten. And I thought he showed it, really made it hard on Keaton Wagler, and also, puts up 17, 4 stocks, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, just dominant performance here in 38 and a half minutes. So, yeah, Michigan's the best team in the country, most talented team in the country. And they showed it tonight. That doesn't mean they can't lose, but they've already lost. But at the same time, this is tough. It's a tough one for Illinois because they have to make threes to compete with them. When they space out, Tommy has to make threes. They let Kylan Boswell shoot threes. Ked talked about before the game, right? I mean, that was the game plan, and they did. And he didn't make them. And so when those guys combined to go 2 for 12, Z missed his. You're not gonna win very often.
Not going to strike fear in him. What about what's going on with Stojakovic? If you got that.
Sorry, go again.
What's up with Stojakovic?
He's playing pretty poorly. The weird part is you just want him to do the things that he can do. Defend and rebound, the points will come. He can slash and do some different things there. But he's just got to be a better defensive player and a better rebounder if he wants to get more minutes. And he's just not there. And I do think he's a guy that's used to being a high-usage guy. And when we've seen him, you go back to the beginning of the season. Remember when he came back against Texas Tech? And they just played through him all the way down the stretch. And when they did that, he was very successful and very good. He just needs more touches to be efficient, I think, offensively. But at the same time, he can guard and defend. He's got the length on the wing that they really just don't have anywhere else to go with athleticism, right? And he's just not playing well. And we can blame an ankle sprain. We can say this, but he's back physically there. He's just got to get back in a groove. And they got a couple games here coming up with Oregon and Maryland where if they can put things together, they have a great chance to get right heading into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah. Okay, so
we have
one final question. What does the offense need to do to get some open shots against as athletic as Michigan?
I thought they got a lot of open shots. Maybe they missed them, but the thing is, you can't matchup hunt against Michigan. It doesn't work because they're so versatile defensively. I mean, it's funny. I got so many texts from college coaches, current and former college coaches, like, you can't matchup hunt against this team and just create ISOs. And Brad, both Dusty and Brad said it after the game. Illinois is going to have to switch things up. They ran some really nice actions to start the second half. I think we got a Jake Davis 3. We got a nice cut where we got in the paint, and there's some kind of different plays and more sets. I mean, people may not think they're sets, but they are because the actions are created off the ball with the ghost screens and the slips and things like that. But they ran a couple really nice things. The problem is you have this game had 60-some offensive possessions, somewhere close to 69 offensive possessions. You can't run 69 sets. And Michigan's good enough to make adjustments. So what you got to do is when you get those wide open looks, you got to knock them down. I mean, I thought that they had some in the first half, quite a few. And then the second half, if you take out I think they hit the last two, right? Didn't only hit the last couple threes they took. Before that time, it was really bad. And so the stats even look better after those last two. I think was it Kylan and Ben who hit their last two, maybe? And then but other than that, it was really just poor shooting from a lot of guys outside of Wagler. And they just, they depend on him so much that it's time for other guys to kind of step up. And just by making open shots, they'll take a ton of pressure off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Greg, you
mute for a second.
So we have a.
Listen.
There we are. So ultimately, Ked, Brad totally disagrees with you. He threw down the gauntlet. He's got Yaxel being the best player in the Big Ten. We've got a IlliniGuys spat of phenomenal margins here. Ked, who do you think the number one guy is in the Big Ten?
I'm going to say it, and that's okay. We disagree because we definitely disagree on this. I'm going to go with Wagler. I'm going to go with Fears. I don't care if he guarded Keaton Wagler. I'm going to stick by my statement. I think Keaton Wagler looks to defer too much. He got looks, and they were switching on him in the second half. Keaton got threes off. I made it really, really clear that people can talk about him not being able to shoot over size and, because people are defending him differently. I made the comment to you earlier that he was able to shoot over Mara and hit a three. Now, granted, it was only one. I do think, I guess when I look at him, if the NBA is all about all the analytics and shooting the ball and putting the ball on the floor and threes, and it's not about NBA, I guess that's a bad take. The comment is he's the best player in the Big Ten. Kedrick doesn't give the team who wins it the best player award because they're on the best team. That doesn't work with me. It can work for anybody else. I don't care about that. The most dominant players in the Big Ten, and I'm not the only one who thinks it. So if people want to argue it, let's use Raphael Davis. He's more important than I am and has more credibility. And I'm going to tell you, flat out, and so does Andy Katz. They're saying the same thing that Kedrick is saying. Yes, he guarded Keaton well, but Keaton didn't look to score. And I don't care that he scored. He was a game-leading scorer tonight, and it is tough for him. It is tough for Keaton. And Michigan is a better basketball team than Illinois right now. I can't even say right now they're probably going to be in the tournament. I just do not think he is the best player in the Big Ten because he does nothing to me that makes me think he is better than Keaton. Bennett Sturds from Iowa. Michigan is going to be good if you take him off that team. They're going to win games if you take him off their team. They're good enough to do it. Morez is good enough. They have good guards. They're a really, really good team. You take Sturds off Illinois. You take Bennett or Price off Nebraska. Fears off Michigan. You're not winning games without those kids. Michigan is going to win without him. I thought, first half, he only had 5 points himself. So if we're looking at points, did he defend Keaton well? Sure he did, but I think Keaton helped that. I don't want to see Keaton look to defer as much as he does. Brad also mentioned, too, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, I don't like having the ball in his hand so much. I guess I did hear you say about his usage. Get him off the ball a little bit. Let him shoot the basketball because that was the game plan. Michigan wanted to make Highland shoot the ball. Keaton's a really good shooter. If he's wide open, I like my chances with him. But me personally, and we're all entitled to our opinions, I don't think he's the best player in the Big Ten. Sorry.
Brad?
I mean, it's fine. We can think that. I mean, I'm sure Michigan would win, but they're 17-1, and they aren't just winning; they're just crushing teams. I mean, they went into Purdue and crushed Purdue. They went into Illinois and crushed Illinois. Probably the second and third best teams in the Big Ten.
Yep,
and just dominated them. So, yeah, I just think Lindeborg. There's more to the game, than just, I don't know. I mean, the guy scores. He's not the leading scorer, but what he does is he makes everybody around him better because of his ability to rebound, defend, pass, steals, blocks, scoring. He does it all. I mean, just, I don't know. I just think he's the best player in the Big Ten. I thought tonight was like a telltale sign. And the other thing I'll tell you, no matter how, you don't realize, unless you're sitting there looking at him, how frigging much bigger he is than like a 6'6" Keaton
Yes.
Wagler. Oh my gosh! I mean, he is.
35, Brad. I'm just kidding. He's older.
He is. He's 23. He'll be 24 in
Trust
September.
me,
He'll be
you can see it.
24, but yeah, I mean, no,
He's
but
a-
I mean,
he's a
like,
big boy.
I'm telling you, when he walked out, he's bigger than Merez. Like,
He is
he's
big.
bigger than
He's
Merez
big.
Johnson.
Yeah.
And he's so long. He's got length. And you know, I think, I mean, as a two-way wing, my goodness, he's going to be great in the NBA. I just think he's fantastic. I think he's what Illinois doesn't have. And if Illinois had a wing, I think that's what Illinois kind of wanted Stojakovic to be. And if Stojakovic was a little more like Landenborg, and, you know, to be honest, he's not quite as big, but he's, you know, he could be kind of a poor man's Landenborg if he would choose to do that. But that's maybe the difference. I mean, he defers, and he doesn't have to shoot it 1,000 times, but man, when you need to play, he makes it. I think Merez is one of the best players in the Big Ten too. He's got to be an all Big Ten team. And
He doesn't
Illinois,
get enough credit, I think. Brad, I don't know who you listen to. Merez never, when you talk about the top 5 players in the Big Ten, his name never comes up, and he should be. He really should
yeah,
be.
he's got to at least be on the second team. And the way Michigan's dominated, I think they should have 2 first-teamers, not going to lie. And I think, of course, Illinois made Mara look like Lou Alcindor tonight. So
that was surprising, Brad. We talked about that. I don't know how
they
that
just,
happened.
well, that Tommy and Z, I mean, you can say what you want. I like Tommy and Z. I like things they do. They were really bad tonight. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know, they were bad. Tommy was a -20 when he was on the floor.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, Z was only played 10 minutes, but he was a -8. So it's a debate on who was worse. They didn't make shots. They didn't really rebound. They didn't really, you know, defend the rim. They just didn't really do much of anything except get lost in space. And that's bad. You can't get that out of them. And they just have to get, when you get nothing out of Tommy, nothing out of Z, and nothing out of Stojakovic, that's 3 of your guys who can kind of be, you know, difference makers. And, you know, then you're relying on, you know, it all falls on Merkovich, Wagler, and Boswell. And Boswell, I don't think shooting with that pad on is helping either.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think there's something wrong. Those shots are like not getting above the rim. Like if he was shooting on a 9-foot rim, they would have been perfect, because they were barely getting above a 10-foot rim. And I don't know whether there's something there. Even the free throws did not look good, I didn't think.
So Brad,
Brad, there was
where do they go from
one
here?
time tonight. All right, go ahead.
Where do they go from here, Brad?
Well, I think you get better. You got to do a better job executing. They missed some assignments. Defensively, I thought offensively they're going to be fine. And I think it was Ant Wright. I saw it on Twitter where he's talked about Illinois still presents crazy matchup problems for teams, just not Michigan, probably not Duke, probably not Arizona. I mean, you can't matchup hunt against, you know what I mean, the top seeds. But against everybody else, I mean, we saw that against Purdue. They match up hunted, and Purdue's 2-3, whatever you want to say. Nebraska, same thing. They're able to do these things against almost every other team in the country, except maybe 4 or 5. And they can't do it against them. And yet at the same time, they also still got some great shots tonight. So I think offensively they're going to be fine. But defensively, they have to continue to make some changes. I thought the zone was effective for certain possessions. But I think the problem is, and Dusty May alluded to this, when you stay in the same defense for like 2, 3, 4 possessions, and you're a team who's not very good defensively, they will exploit it. I think Illinois got to change like almost every possession what they're doing. Every 2 or 3 possessions, they got to go to a different style defense. They got to change up the way they're defending, whether it's going zone, whether it's defending ball screens differently, whether it's, you know, give me a hard hedge occasionally, give me a trap of a ball screen, give me then play some drop, and then you got to be different almost every time you do it. And I think that's hard, but you've had a whole season. You got to figure it out. And they're not going to suddenly become more athletic. They're not going to become more stronger or quicker. They are what they are, but you got to play a little harder. I thought tonight they got on their heels a little bit, but I think some of that is when you don't feel like you can match up athletically with their team. You don't play on your toes. And I think that's where when you don't play an aggressive defense, and I don't feel like you're going to play as hard. I think you got to get after people a little bit, make it harder on them. And yeah, you might give up a shot here or there, but it looks to me like they're giving up those shots anyway. But maybe you get a tip.
Totally agree. That's where, like, when you teach the zone, it almost keeps your guys more engaged if you teach them, like, whenever whoever's got the ball has to be ape shit, so that they can't do the skip pass, which kind of keeps your guys engaged a little bit, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
dial it down in the zone. You know what I mean? The other thing
Yep.
is, we used to always map out 3 areas that you had to go to rebound, that I wanted you there before the offensive guy, and that would keep you moving as well. Get one on each block and one in front of the rim. And they knew when a shot went up where you needed to be, and those are things to keep guys moving and not falling asleep in a zone where you kind of on the other side of the ball, you just watch everybody. And that was really good play. And then next thing you know, your guys got the rebound on the weak side.
Yep.
Wrap things up for us, Brad, because we're hitting the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, and we've been going so long that Dominic's rosary has actually slowed down to his comments. So
Oh,
it's because they were coming fast and furious an hour and 15 minutes ago. Where kind of wrap this up into a bow, and then I'll let Ked go, and then I'll close it out.
yeah. I thought Illinois was bad tonight. They played poorly. They didn't shoot the ball well. They didn't defend well enough. They didn't get after they didn't rebound well enough. You put all that together, and you're going to lose. And so I think that's where they just have to kind of get back to the drawing board and start working and get ready to play the last 2, Oregon and then at Maryland, and then hope they can, see what happens. I mean, if they win the last 2, there'll still be a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. And then you get the triple bye and you play on Friday and see what happens. And then it's all about, I think this team's proven that they're a quality team. It's all about March for this team. And regardless of what happened tonight, we've seen a lot of really good teams get beat by 20 points and then make a run in March. Yep. And it's just a matter of, you got to find a way to get it right before you head into March. All their goals are still in front of them, and that's just that's the basic reality. They got to win the next 2 games. And then if they get it, and March is all about matchups. This is an Illinois team that I don't think they can. I know Brad said he thinks they can win a national championship this year. I don't agree with that. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just don't know that they can beat, let's say, it would have to take things really going right. Somebody knocking out Duke and knocking out Michigan and Arizona before they would have to play them maybe or something. Because I don't think they match up very well. And you're only going to beat those teams maybe once or twice if you play them 10 times. And so, but if they get the right matchup, this is a team that can get to the Elite Eight, get to the Final Four. But it's all about matchups. And you get the wrong matchup, I think it's tough. And we saw that tonight. It wasn't a great matchup. I thought they could score better than they did against Michigan, and they didn't. But at the same time, they still can't guard them. So that's where they got to find a way to get better at that and be a little more competitive.
To me, the loss stinks. I didn't think Illinois was going to win tonight. I was a little bit embarrassed by the score, how big it was, the scoring margin. I know Keaton mentioned that as well, but you can't change the past. My concern is, moving forward, they should win the next 2 games, but nothing's given. Illinois has a target on their back, and everybody's going to want to beat them because they're looking for that big win. But to me, what are they going to do differently? Because you're right, they're not going to get faster. They're not going to get stronger and taller in the next 3 or 4 weeks. It's maybe a pound or 2, I guess. What are you going to do when the threes aren't falling? That is my recipe. I need an answer for that because they're not going to fall. I think they can play, Brad, I agree with you. I don't think they'll win a national title. I really don't. I think they can get to the Final 8, maybe even a Final 4. I really do believe that. But what are you going to do if your shots aren't falling? They have to do something different because, and I don't care what it is, I'm not going to sit and harp on it. We've been going at this for an hour and 15 minutes, but they better figure that out because you're going to be exited again because you can't be one-dimensional. And this team, to me, as much as people are tired of hearing Marcus Griffith say it, get a low post game, they're one-dimensional. And it's great when shots are going in.
Yeah, I think look, folks, this team, unfortunately, it's got some weaknesses, and great athleticism is a challenge for any team, but it's certainly a challenge for this team. And then the other thing that we see is that this team also can beat anybody, but you got to make the ball go through the hoop. And we just have this team has had too many evenings or too many games where that hasn't happened. And Ked, I think, summed it up well with, if the shots aren't falling, what are you going to go do differently? Because if you're shooting, 30%, there's no point in shooting another 45 shots or whatever. You may need to alter it and change the equation a little bit. This Illini team, I was both. I kind of thought this might happen tonight. I was worried about this. At the same time, I got to be honest with you. Illinois didn't play very well, and it was only, believe it or not, only a 14-point game. I expected if Illinois didn't play well, that this would have been 20 to 25-point loss. So I'm conflicted on how bad I need to feel. I don't feel good about it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I don't feel you had to feel as bad as I thought. Look, this is a bump in the highway. Illinois plays on Tuesday night, I believe, against Oregon at home. It will be senior night, which could be senior night for Keaton Wagler as he looks to go to the NBA. But Oregon will play Illinois at 8 p.m. We will be back. We will probably do a halftime show and a postgame show. We thank everybody for coming on board. And please go to IlliniGuys.com. Check it out. Join up there, and you can get, if you think the debates here on the comments are fun, you need to go into on our message boards. There are plenty of people willing to debate with you, and they've been Illini fans as long as you have been, so they will be there willing and able to argue any point. Some of them are crazy points. And we also have our game room during the games, which is a free-for-all of phenomenal proportions. Until next time, folks, go Illini.